What's up, brothers and sisters in the Lord? I hope you're all doing well through the grace and mercy of our Lord Jesus Christ. Thank you very much, and God bless you for choosing to watch this video. Now, it is very important to listen to this message that I'm about to share with you. A sister has sent in a message concerning certain terrible policies that will be implemented in the coming year, which will actually lead a lot of people astray. And this is the time that Christians need to come together, pray, so that God will guide and protect us through the path that we are supposed to take. Because these policies, based on the revelation that this sister has given out, they are going to bring out certain system or certain mechanism that will be built in people as identification. Now, they are going to bring this out for everyone, not limited to one country. I believe this is going to be across all countries. And without this mechanism or system built in you, you might be losing certain benefits or certain rights as an individual in the society. And this is going to bring a lot of tension upon people in various homes. And based on her revelation, many of Christians will be exposed to this when will have no option than to get themselves into this. So what are we supposed to do as Christians? Now, I want you to take your time to listen to this message. It contains very deep and vital informations which we need to know, so that when these things begin to happen, we will definitely know what to do. Now, by the grace of God, our evangelism team in South Africa visited a couple of villages yesterday called Hamaskra and Sifiso. I don't know if I'm getting these names correct. Now, during their evangelism, they visited house to house to preach the gospel to people. And then they were also able to hold a crusade at a location. Now, out of the crusade they held, they were able to win 42 souls. This doesn't include the number of souls that were won in various homes. So what a wonderful thing the Lord has done for us just yesterday. Now, and I know that God will continue on to use this ministry to win a lot of souls, just like we've done in the past. In the past few weeks, we were able to visit Nigeria and we were able to win 57 souls. And I know that as we Christians, these are our responsibilities to do. So whoever that has participated to join this ministry, to join our evangelism team, I pray that God will richly bless you for whatever that you've done. If you have supported this ministry or these missions in any way, I also pray that God will continue to bless you and guide you in everything that you do. All right. So thank you very much, and God bless you. Pray and seek discernment from the Lord.
Hi, sir. I really thank God for coming across your channel about 4 months ago. The testimonies shared have always blessed me and opened my eyes to many spiritual truths. More grace, sir. When we hear of the Antichrist, many people think it's a reality that will crystallize in 100 years to come. Such assumptions are wrong. The Antichrist is already here, sir. God revealed to me one of their satanic agenda, and I sincerely pray that people, especially believers, read this to the end to understand how this is meant to be executed. My name is Yvette Clayton. God showed me this vision on the 9th of July. I woke up that morning feeling a heavy sense of unease that I couldn't quite put my finger on. It was an ordinary day, but something in my spirit felt unsettled. I had an important trip scheduled for the following day. As I moved about the day, finalizing the little details, packing my bag, checking my ticket, and confirming with my sister, the heaviness in my heart remained. That evening, as I prayed, I asked God for protection and guidance. I didn't know why I felt such a burden. My mind was already thinking if it was a danger signal. The next morning, I made my way to the airport. As I settled into my seat, weariness overtook me, and I felt myself drifting. But as I slipped into the state of rest, something extraordinary began to happen. In what felt like the blink of an eye, I found myself no longer seated on the plane. Instead of the rows of seats and the murmur of other passengers, I was now standing in the middle of a city street. All around me, people were gathering in lines, stretching down the street. Suddenly, a new scene was showcased before me. It was as if I had been transferred into a vast, high-ceiling conference room filled with officials, each dressed in dark suits. A large screen was mounted on the wall behind them, displaying diagrams and charts in bold, clinical colors, and displayed the side is the year 2025. At the head of a long table stood a man addressing the room. He seemed to be explaining something crucial, a new policy, one that would soon shape the lives of everyone beyond the walls of this meeting. On the screen, an image of a tiny metallic chip appeared. It was so small, almost invisible to the eye, and shaped like a grain of rice. The man referred to it as the Nano ID chip, a device that he explained would be implanted directly into each person's forehead, just under the skin. He pointed to diagrams that illustrate how the device would operate. It was designed to carry personal identification data, health information, banking details, and even a record of government permissions and approvals. The man continued to reveal, explaining that this new mandate was the result of a national security measure intended to streamline and safeguard the identification process. We live in an age, he said, where fraud, unauthorized access, and inefficiencies must be eliminated. This chip ensures every citizen is accounted for, every record is accurate, and no one slips through the cracks. On the screen, more images flashed: banks, hospitals, stores, government buildings. With each image, a caption appeared outlining the requirements for entry. Nano ID required. The man spoke confidently as he outlined how the policy would work, revealing how, with the chip, citizens will have seamless access to essential services. Every bank will require a forehead scan to allow entry. Hospitals will scan each patient to verify eligibility for care. Every store, every pharmacy, and every public building will have a scanner at the door. Only those with a valid Nano ID will be granted entry. It became clear that this policy was not optional. For those who choose not to comply, the man let the House know that individuals who refuse the Nano ID will be automatically excluded from all forms of public and private services. They will be denied access to bank accounts, unable to receive medical treatment, and barred from purchasing goods. This is a new standard of national identification, and refusal will not be tolerated. At that moment, I realized the depth of deception. This was not about security or efficiency. It was about control. This tiny device held the power to track, monitor, and restrict every individual, and yet people were accepting it without a second thought, lured by the reassurance that it was merely a convenient update to identification systems. I then saw something unbelievable. What shocked me the most was how quickly people were lining up to take it, almost without question. I watched as crowds gathered outside numerous centers that had been set up for this purpose. The buildings were plain, almost sterile, with banners posted outside, assuring everyone that this mark was just a modern improvement to the old forms of identification. As I continued watching, my heart grew heavier. Everyone seemed caught up in the kind of trance, too willing to accept this change without asking the real question: why is this chip necessary? What's the true purpose behind it? What are we giving up? As I continued to watch, the harsh reality of the new system became painfully clear. Anyone who refused a chip was immediately cut off, facing severe consequences at every turn. I saw people walk up to a bank hoping to access their own money, only to be met with cold, blank stares from the tellers and firm instructions to leave. Without the chip, they couldn't withdraw a single dollar, couldn't even ask a question. No exceptions were made, no explanations given, just a firm refusal. In stores, the situation was just as bleak. People who had come to buy groceries, often with children in tow, were stopped at the entrance by security guards holding scanners. If a person didn't have the chip, they were told to leave immediately, forced to turn and head home empty-handed. I watched as parents pleaded, explaining that they needed food for their families, but their words fell on deaf ears. Each time, the security personnel would simply gesture them away as if they didn't matter. Hospitals, too, had adopted the same strict policy. I witnessed desperate scenes, people in visible pain, some even needing emergency care, rushing to the entrance only to be blocked by hospital staff with scanners. A mother carrying a young child in her arms tried to enter, her full face of fear and worry. But the scanner's red light blinked, signaling that she didn't have the chip. She begged for help, her voice thick with panic, but the staff stood firm, shaking their heads and pointing her backward toward the exit. Her cries, like those of so many others, were drowned out by a cold, unyielding system, a system that had no compassion, no humanity. What hurt the most was seeing how the policy affected the church. Many Christians had been deceived into taking this mark, falsely believing it was harmless. Others who had resisted were left to struggle, isolated from the rest of society. The church buildings that remained open required a chip for entry, and countless believers were locked out, unable to gather in worship or even receive pastoral support. And then, as suddenly as I entered this vision, I was back on the plane, my hands trembling. The stewardess walked past, offering drinks as though nothing had happened, but I knew I had witnessed a reality that could very well unfold in the world around me. I'm sharing this experience with every believer who reads this. I urge you, my fellow brothers and sisters, to become serious with God, to prepare spiritually, and to be vigilant. Pray fervently for America and for all nations, that such evil plans will not prevail. Strengthen your relationship with God and seek His wisdom, for the days ahead are filled with trials that require unshakable faith. God has shown us the dangers of deception, and now is the time to pray without ceasing, to seek God's protection and wisdom. May this vision serve as a warning and a call to faithfulness in the days to come.